If I get $1 for every time I see an account review with non-max traces, I'd have $0 because I haven't reviewed anyone's account. Before I get into it, I want to briefly talk about the Remembrance reveal. It's been made official that there's a new path in Star Rail, and while we have absolutely no information on what the path does, there was a common point being made in the talks I've seen. Is Super Break dead? I made a video on how Star Rail community is extremely susceptible to recency bias. Please watch the video, by the way, thanks. Where I talked about whenever there is a new thing released, it's always overhyped and the old things will be disregarded. Granted, I see the actual concerns this time because it involves the main character changing paths, since as far as we know, we can't have more than one main character on different teams. So now we have to decide between either keep Harmony MC for break teams or we try Remembrance MC, which again, we don't even know what they or the path will even do. And even then, this is assuming you're actually gonna pull for whatever that new thing is. So if you're just gonna stick to your Acherons, your Facials, or your Fireflies, then it's nothing to worry about. That being said,
I have been called. I must answer.
now let's get into the actual video. Traces! There are multiple steps that you need to take in order to raise a character from scratch. Obviously, you first need to obtain the character, and then you need to ascend and level them up, give them a light cone, level that up as well if you haven't, level up their traces, especially the big ones, and then you give them their relics and planners. Usually the relics and planner stage is where we all collectively roll in the corner, cry our eyes out because a force up win orb 2 run piece that had attack percent, crit rate, and crit damage rolled 5 times hit a flat defense. By the way, the system gets more annoying every time I have to think about it. Like, bro, why can't they just literally steal from Monster Hunter and use their decoration system? Like if you kill, I don't know, the Chef Dinosaur in Penacony, you get a gem that gives 5% crit rate, and then you can stack it up, and then you have a certain amount of slots to work with, and then you can move these gems around to build craft, and then you can save these in loadouts. And I find it odd that whenever I see players asking about how good their builds are, 9 times out of 10, I always see unfinished traces. Heck, sometimes there are even worse case of non-max levels on the cones and characters, which can lead you to not being able to even get certain trace nodes. And this is even worse on breakers. I don't know what kind of black magic they have going on behind the scenes, but breakers at level 70 and breakers at level 80 are two very different units. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Non-max light cones are equally bad, by the way, because it's quite literally the base stats of your characters. The more base stats you have, the more attack percent will give you. Same goes for the other percentage stats, which is why signatures tend to be direct upgrades. The sheer increase in base stats alone is already enough to make a difference. I know some people are joking when they say this, even though I believe that deep down, some of them are telling the truth. But when asked why people don't max their levels, cones, and especially traces, the reply is always the same. I like rolling relics more. This is the same thing that I mentioned in my last video, which you should also watch, by the way, please and thank you. How clearing dailies is a lot less exciting than getting a clear on things like MOC. Farming traces can be mundane, boring, especially since you don't really see the difference by that much. Getting 2 purples in a run is much less exciting than getting the perfect 5 roll piece. Not to mention, the showcases that are on YouTube, the Billy, whatever social media, are usually done with impressive stats. And while they also tend to have max traces too, this difference isn't very visible. If you look at a showcase, the first thing you'll notice is how impressive their stats are. And then you compare them to yours, and then you get depression. This is probably one of the reasons why people tend to ignore traces, or rather undervalue it compared to relic farming. Now, I'm not saying relics doesn't matter, quite the opposite. I advocate that we should set our standards higher for relics, like how 100% effective crit rate should be the bare minimum on crit characters. Yes, including Aventurine. I do believe that maxing out your character levels, their cone levels, and your traces has more priority than farming relics and planners. Side note, do not farm gold calyx. Your credits, character EXP, light cone EXP, you should always just stock them up from things like events, first time clear rewards, and assignments. Even the thought process of skipping traces is a bit odd to me, because the reality of the situation is, even if you want to deny it, you're farming relics to min-max. Because after a few subs per piece, you're really just trying to squeeze out that little bit of damage you can, which you can also do by farming traces. And it's even much easier. Let me put it this way. Let's say Silver Wolf hacked into the server once again and she gives us another 10 fuels. Then you decided to use them on farming relics or planners. Chances are, those 10 fuels wouldn't give you an upgrade if at all. You'd probably just roll another 5 roll flat defense pieces and then fodder them as relic EXP. Compared to if you were to spend them on traces instead, let's say you were already at level 8, you could have taken it to level 10. Not only farming traces is a guaranteed upgrade on your character, but it also has a set end goal, or rather a more achievable end goal, unlike farming relics. Once you reach level 10 or 6 for basic attacks on your traces, you're done. There's no it could be better after it, there's no whatever what's it. But it's not the same for relics. Let's say you have a headpiece that rolled 4 times into crit damage. That's pretty good, right? Well, if the other stats are flats, like flat HP, flat attack, flat defense, then it could have been a better piece by simply having those other more important stats. If you have a godly piece that rolled once into attack percent, twice into crit rate, twice into crit damage, and then the final stat is speed, yo, that's a really good piece, isn't it? But then you put all your pieces together, turns out you're above 100% crit rate, and you're missing 3 speed from a breakpoint. Well dang, now your entire build could be better. Please devs just literally steal from Monster Hunter. Not Rise though, they stole from you and made curio crafting a thing. That was horrendously terrible mistake. One would say it's horrendable. The end goal for relic farming is far. It's very difficult to get to. Because even if you went from 4 rolls to 5 rolls on a single piece, it wouldn't even always be an upgrade. What if the 5th roll was a stats that you don't need? Then it's effectively a wasted roll. I get that when you do actually get the perfect piece, the satisfaction is undeniably good. But let's max out our traces first. Then after we're done, we can have fun grinding relics. Before I end the video, I want to say something. Thank you guys for coming by. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for subscribing. We hit well over 100 subs, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I even saw someone sharing my vid on a community I'm in, which I can't lie, that made me tear up. I was like, yo, somebody actually shared my vid! That's actually really cool, you know, but I know I'm still very far away from where I need to be, from where I want to be. But like I said before, I do appreciate the baby steps. Thank you guys for giving me a chance, and I hope to see y'all in my future milestones. And I hope you guys are doing well yourself. Here's to a bright future for all of us. And that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment down your thoughts, feedbacks are greatly appreciated, and I'll be reading through them. If you want to see more of me, consider hitting the subscribe button, it's free. I'll be doing more of these Yap videos in the future, even for other games. Now take a sip of water and have a good day.